We haven't been recording this entire time?
No, why would I record tech support?
I don't know. I thought it would make for a good cold opening.
Yeah, let's record Davey running around his house trying to figure out a way to be able to do the show. So Davey, for the folks at home, Davey is using his cellular device. So if his audio is a little whack, it's not my fault. Not Davey's fault. Not your fault.
I've been having computer issues, not since April when the update happened, but since the April update happened, and I haven't been able to roll my PC back to the update that was prior to it. I've been having issues. So, yeah, reinstalling Windows actually made it worse. And so now we're on my phone, and I'm going to try and make the most of it. So sorry I sound even worse than I normally do.
Davey is hunting for the lost city of Atlantis tonight for our audio listeners.
No, I don't have to be here. I don't have to be here at all. I didn't sign a contract.
It was just a joke. It was just a joke. But folks, as always, this is the Fake Racers podcast. I am your host, co-host with the most sadness. I'm Joe. You know me. You probably hate me, but hey, I'm still here.
You already heard me. I'm Davey. I'm sad, and I hate everything about computers. So there's that.
I'm Matthew, and I guess I'm the only mildly happy person on the show.
Shut up. Shut up.
Ever since
Shut up and who cares?
Yeah.
Matt, you're like when the parents have the second child and all, or like the second or third child, and all of a sudden the marriage goes to shit.
Oh,
wow, that hurts. I am the second child.
You gotta bleep it.
I do, but here's the thing.
Hey, just buy another diecast.
It's so early in the show.
You did the thing.
I did.
Oh my god, dude! Like, what is wrong with you, man?
I don't know. I'm moving. I'm moving at the end of the week. So
Yes.
last show from JTN Studio 1. We're moving to JTN Studio 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yep.
What?
But yeah, to reiterate, I am the second child, so thanks, Joe.
Okay, I said third. I threw third in there for a reason.
Yeah.
Anyway, Aric Almirola. Yeah, he's one of the few happy ones out there.
Real quick. Davey, I need you to confirm this. Do you remember when we were watching the race on Sunday? Or I hopped on the USORL Discord and I just kept saying I have a funny feeling Aric Almirola is going to win this race.
No.
And then he did. Well, I said it, and then he won. And I made money.
Hold on.
Was it in voice or was it in text?
It was in voice.
Oh, okay, so we can't prove it.
You can't prove that. What
yeah, but here's
hell?
the other thing. I have the receipts of the bets I put on Aric Almirola to win. So, bam.
Oh.
Made some money, but you know that's neither here nor there.
Tell us how much did you do, and then how much did you do?
I won $12 because I only bet $1.
Yeah.
What? When I made the bet, he was running like fifth, so he was like plus 1,200 odds.
And you bet $1.
I bet $1.
Yeah.
How betting works.
Yeah, that's what I'm upset about. You bet $8.
See, I would have put at least $20 on it because I'd be like, well, it's $20. Who cares?
Yeah, but here's the thing, and people, they should hopefully understand this about me. I am cheap, so low risk, low reward. I put $1 on Ryan Blaney, and I won $2 off of that because I cashed out early while he was still leading. Use that $2 that I won to pay for the Almirola bet.
See, I'm cheap, but I'm not that cheap. I bought $80 worth of Dogecoin because I was like, oh yeah, if it blows up and I make a bunch of money, cool. But if it doesn't, it's $80, and who cares? I'll make that in 4 hours at work. So, yeah, step that up.
It's a fair point.
Aric Almirola won. That was cool.
Yeah, he brought home the bacon.
Yeah.
Hold on, we got one. We got a show sheet's missing something.
What's it missing?
What?
What? What is it missing?
Are we like the embodiment of NASCAR missing the rain? Like, what is going on? The rain.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I already made a video on it. Go check it out. JTN YouTube. No. NASCAR egg meat face once again. They had Steve O'Donnell go up into the booth, and that was awful because I felt like he just tried to shift the blame to poor Kip Childress. Who then there were tweets from Jim Utter, obviously always a reputable source. I just know some people don't like him. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm trying to say.
I liked the tweets saying that Steve O'Donnell was the least well-dressed person in the booth when that happened. That was a good time.
But so they, he went up there and pretty much said that, oh, we didn't know we've raced in the mist before, which they have. I mean, I was at a couple Michigan races where it's been misting and they kept racing. Michigan has a lot more banking than New Hampshire does. It's also a lot quicker, so, you kind of got to balance how you're playing with death there. But, egg meat face. That's the...
Yeah.
Pretty embarrassing. Looked really bad. I mean...
They're just lucky that F1 race happened in the morning.
Yeah. The thing that makes it extra funny is how they've been making that push to get rain tires on like these slower tracks like Martinsville in New Hampshire. And there was even a rumor that they were going to bring rain tires to the track this weekend, and then they didn't. And then of course it rains at the start of the race and they wreck a bunch of cars.
I think that rumor didn't really have any like foundation in anything that NASCAR was doing, because they were testing rain tires that they could bring to New Hampshire, but it wasn't necessarily tires that they are prepared to bring to New Hampshire.
I'm not saying that they should have thrown rain tires on the cars. It was just funny that it coincided that the week that they were thinking about doing it, or the rumor was that they were going to do it, was also the one where it rained at the start and wrecked a bunch of cars.
Yeah. Anyway, what can you do? Kyle Busch got real mad. He was bump drafting.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Honestly, glad they didn't penalize him. The wrecking in the rain because of a mistake on their part is penalty enough.
Yeah.
So, c'est la vie. We move on.
He absolutely bit his tongue off too. He didn't just bite it. He chomped down on it because you could tell he wanted to say something. Probably would have got it. I was waiting for the willpower moment too. I think everyone was. So I guess we're not that unique, but I was waiting for it.
Same place too.
Exactly.
Still good drama, but man, just top tier NASCAR stuff.
I was listening to the radio too this week, and you know how there's like the whole darkness at the end of the race, and I forget who was on there, if it was like Pemberton or Miller or who it was, but whoever it was said, well, yeah, we were waiting to at least do the 10 to go until the pits had cycled through. And I'm like, and once again, you guys are kind of, hey, there's this strategy moment in the race that happened organically. In this case, maybe not so much. You look back at the Chris Buescher tire debacle at Kansas, was it?
Yeah.
Maybe Atlanta. I don't know. But there was that. Kansas. Was it Kansas? Okay.
Yeah.
So you look back at that, and you just look at it like Matt DiBenedetto's staying out for as long as he can. He stayed out till 5 laps probably before they called 10 to go. And then they called 10 to go. It wasn't any darker 5 laps ago because that was only 2 minutes ago. Mm-hmm. But it is what it is in that case.
But I mean, in that situation, DiBenedetto's only making that gamble because there is that risk of the race could end at any moment.
Right.
So somebody was gonna do it. It just ended up NASCAR didn't want to basically blatantly put it out there that we'll just throw the end of the race whenever we want and declare whoever we want to win. So.
Yeah, I don't like the call to just say, oh, we're just gonna say, if it gets too dark, we're just. I get trying to get the whole race in for the fans at the track. I understand that, but just give them a solid lap count.
Have a plan.
275, knock 25 laps off of it. I don't think anyone there is going to be so disappointed, that they're going to ask for a refund
There's something funny about this finish though. Is this is the second time Aric's won a race where NASCAR basically just decided whenever they wanted to end it, because that 2016 14. Daytona race, not that one though, the Xfinity one.
Oh yeah.
Where he and Allgaier were racing side by side to the line, and then they just threw the yellow after waiting almost half a lap, and it was that finish rubbed me the wrong way so much because. I was talking to my dad about it, and I know I'm getting on a tangent, but it's just a weird coincidence. I was talking to my dad about it, and he was like, oh, yeah, well, they just let him, they let him race long enough. And I was like, yeah, but the problem is you don't know when where the finish line is in that situation. Like if you're Allgaier and you're trying to set up a run for the start finish line, you don't know when the yellow is going to come out, and it's like, oh, Aric Almirola wins. And it's just funny how like all but I think 2 of Aric's wins you could put asterisks next to, which is kind of funny because there's like Milwaukee, he wasn't in the car when they crossed the finish line. His Cup win at Daytona was rain shortened. This one was darkness shortened. That other Daytona one ended under yellow. If it went green to the end, he wasn't going to win. And I think there's one more that I can't remember, but like over half of his wins are all like,
yeah.
It's just funny.
His Talladega win in the 10 car, his teammate ran out of gas right in front of him, and he was just second in line.
Yeah.
His teammates.
Which, that one I don't really want to. Like I know Stewart Haas did their teamwork stuff, and that pissed me off to watch. But like, it's not their fault for playing a team game.
System, yeah.
And I don't want to. I'm incredibly happy for Aric. Like, there's probably not maybe Matt DiBenedetto is the only other guy in the garage who could use a win more badly than Aric could right now. So it's good for him. I was happy.
Oh, and it's not like they were slow. You know what I mean? It's not like they lucked their way into this one.
They had legitimate pace, and if it goes green to the end, he probably still wins.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying Bell could have got by him, but Bell was starting to run him down when Almirola was getting into traffic, and then there was the call on the radio. Okay, go ahead, let him go, and then
as soon as he cleared Dillon, he just basically maintained that gap till the end. So and like the last lap, it shrunk a little bit, but he was just cruising.
Yeah.
So, good for him.
Make sure he's not close enough to dive bomb you going into 3.
Yeah. And I was gonna make a video earlier this year, and then I ended up never making it. And it was like the 10 drivers who have the most to prove coming into this year. And Almirola was like number 3 on that list, where I was like, all right, is this gonna finally be the year where you guys win a race? And like this season has obviously not gone well. A lot of it not his own fault. Like a lot of it's just been garbage luck. So I mean, good for him. I'm happy for him. So he deserved it.
Go ahead, Davey.
Indifferent. Don't care. Aric Almirola won. He's going to get eliminated first round. It's going to be cool.
Yeah.
SRX at Nashville.
Wait.
Yeah.
I was joking.
Wait a minute. I had one more thing.
Okay.
The other thing with Almirola, Smithfield's had 2 different CEOs in the last 12 months. There's a lot of rumors that they would maybe pull the plug on this whole program. A win can, only help that situation. Oh, yeah. So that is another thing to think about.
Before we move on, too, should we talk about like how some people have a problem with like the chase implications that this is going to have? Because it is kind of like
he's 27th in points and he has a win.
As happy as I am for Aric, it does kind of annoy me that this dude who's barely cracked the top 30 is going to be in the playoffs. And like, it's not to say that a guy like Austin Dillon or Tyler Reddick is just going to get on fire when they come to the playoffs and win the championship. But I can definitely see how it'd be a disappointment if you're one of those 2 guys where it's like, oh, cool, we've basically worked our bottoms off all season and are almost top 10 in points, and one of us isn't even going to get a chance.
Yeah, but you go into the season knowing the rules.
Yeah.
And knowing, because if this was Eric Jones in the 43, or I'm trying to think of another guy that's kind of been mid-pack, if it was Corey LaJoie in the 7 or Alfredo or someone else top 30 in points, I think people would be a little more like, I don't think people would have the same reaction, but because it's Aric Almirola, he's driving an SHR car, and everything that we've been told over the last 4 years is SHR is an A+ tier team. I think that's why people have a problem with it. Like, oh my gosh, they've sucked so bad this year. They're supposed to be the best, one of the best teams, and they're still going to make it in because they're, they get a win. This wasn't, and the asterisk always goes with the restrictor plate winners, right? Michael McDowell's going to have a huge one next to his name, even though he's had a very good season for front row. Dude drove his butt off in this race. I mean, he has more wins than Chase Elliott this year, so there's that.
Wait.
Yeah, he won his duel, and then he won the Open.
I was gonna say, I was like, are we saying that Chase hasn't won any races? Okay, I get it now. I was trying to think of like what comparison in sports, like other sports, with a playoff system that you could make to this happening, and the only thing I could think of is like, imagine in, say, the NFL, how like obviously you have your division winners and everybody makes the playoffs, but like imagine if they had a system in place where like whatever team scores the most points in a given week like gets an automatic playoff spot. And I was like, the only thing I could think of is like a situation like that where a 5-11 team just drops 50 points on somebody and it's like, oh, you're in the playoffs now, and a 9-7 team isn't. So it's weird. Like, I mean, Aric's team has the potential to run really well, but they just haven't. So it's kind of, even though, like I've said, even though I'm incredibly happy for him and like just seeing an underdog win, it is kind of annoying to have somebody 27th in points now. Oh, they're in the playoffs.
Right.
So, yeah.
You can compare it to like the NCAA basketball tournament, you know, in terms of 15 beating a 2, suck at Ohio. But you know, I'm fine with it. I understand everyone it's the cool thing to be angry at playoffs and bad NASCAR.
No, I'm sick of that. I'm sick, Joe. I'm sick of that.
No, it is though.
No. I'm sick of your entire argument being, oh, everyone thinks this way. I want to think this way.
That's not why I want to think that way.
Screw that. It's bullshit, Joe.
Two leaps.
Barely cracked top 30 in points. He's going to be fighting for a championship. There are teams that are just outside the top 10 who have been way more consistent, who have way better seasons, and have no shot. That is BS. And none of this stupid, oh, well, everyone just wants to be mad about it. No, because there's a reason to be mad about it, Joe. You never asked the reason why. You look at it and you say they're all mad about it. You never ask why. Why? It's BS. They are a D-tier team this season. They won a race. He drove his butt off. A race. They had a great car. Not taking that away from him. He won a race. But he's 25th in points right now. BS. I'm sick of hearing it. I'm over it. I'm over that argument.
Yeah, and that's wrong. That's the thing too, is like I've seen people make that same argument about Michael McDowell, and it's like, oh, he doesn't deserve to be in the playoffs. And it's like, well, he's still close. Like, he's P17 in points. Like, even if he didn't have his win, he'd still be close to making the playoffs. But yeah, that's definitely the main reason why Almirola's win and this whole system rubs people the wrong way, is if you're RCR and like this is the best season you've had in a while and you're close to putting both your cars in the playoffs. And I mean, yeah, they could both still win their way in, but now it's got to buy. Now, if you're Richard Childress, you're like, okay, cool. Now I have to pit my two drivers against each other for the last 4 races of the season, or however many.
There's a line for the amount of reset that I think is acceptable when it comes to a playoff system. NASCAR has crossed that line over and over and over again in the last few years, and I it's not cool to be mad about it. I'm mad about it because
what's the line then?
Annoying. I feel like, and Jimmy Johnson, but like the chase was an acceptable version of a playoff system. Yeah. It was at least, and I don't really like playoff systems. I don't like the playoff systems in America in any sport. I like the Premier League, a full season championship, blah blah. I like that. Yes, my majority benefited from it, but do I care? No. I'm just saying what I'm saying. The chase is an acceptable thing. That line, wherever it was, up until they did the 3 rounds, the eliminations, and the full reset, that is where that line is crossed. Okay, you got stage points. That's cool. You can still go to the final race in the season, and I know all too well, lose the championship in the last corner. No, that is a line that I cannot. I do not like that line being crossed. That's my line. Is the regular chase to the playoff system and the resets and the rounds and the eliminations. That's my line.
Yeah, and the major problem, I think a lot of people, and this is how I feel about playoff systems in NASCAR, is you could make more of a case for it in like a stick and ball sport because the shape of the field doesn't change every week like it does in racing. So, I mean, so like putting I'm trying to figure out how to make this more verbose, but like making the whole season come down to one race almost isn't fair, because certain drivers like different tracks and track types better, and like obviously that speaks towards the adaptability of a driver, but it is kind of ridiculous to make a whole season come down to one race, and it's like, oh, you won, okay guys, you're still going on, even if you can run like I mean, it still rubs me the wrong way that Tony Stewart won the title in 2011 when he was garbage for 26 races.
We can go down this rabbit hole for a million years. Like it's a rabbit hole that we don't need to go down right now. But
God knows we're not the only ones.
I'm just speaking on the Aric Almirola situation. It rubs me the wrong way. It doesn't rub me the wrong way because it's a cool thing to do. It rubs me the wrong way because it just doesn't seem right to the teams who have put up really good seasons and aren't going to have a shot. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I love you, Joe.
It's it's the double-edged sword of it, though, because like you could look at it from RCR's perspective and you're like, oh man, that sucks, like half your season's going to be over. And then you look at from Almirola's perspective and it's like you literally just saved your season and maybe even your career with Stewart Haas with that win.
It's always going to go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it's always going to come back to this concept of artificial versus natural.
Yeah.
People generally want things to be as natural as possible, it seems to be the consensus. Most naturally possible to determine a champion is to race 36 times in a year. Whoever has the best, has the most points, highest average finishing position, whatever, they're the champion, right?
Yeah.
But when you start playing around with artificial things, you inherently can get more excitement. And, it goes back to and Davey's made this argument and has brought this topic up numerous times. NASCAR, are you entertainment or are you a sport? Yeah. What are you? You can't be both. You can't have one foot in each pool anymore. You have to pick. Because if you're a sport, you can still be entertaining. It's not, and if you're entertainment, once you put 2 feet in that entertainment pool, that you're there. Yep. You know what I mean? There's a line that there's still athleticism, there's still look at professional wrestling, right? Still very athletic performers, still, amazing athletes. But what they're doing isn't a sport in terms of there isn't an actual competition going on, right? Yeah. That's where NASCAR has to tread very lightly, and it seems like they've been stuck in this, I have 1 foot in this pool, I have 1 foot in this pool, I want both. If you just commit to being a sport, you can have both, but they seem to think they have to keep that foot in the entertainment pool.
And that's a thing, right? Because when you're double dipping, you can't double dip. But when you're double dipping, you end up with the arguments that we get now, that we just had, or the arguments that I see on Discord all the time or on Twitter. And that is why when I see people on Twitter who are like, name a racing take or say a racing take that people need to hear right now. And then I see SRX has all the gimmicks you hate in NASCAR. Oh. I'm like, are you stupid? That is the point. SRX knows what it is. SRX itself is a gimmick. The whole thing, the general idea is a gimmick. Before you even get to the racing, it's a gimmick. Like, no one's denying that it's a gimmick. Yeah, there's a championship, and Tony Stewart won a trophy. But Tony Stewart gave the trophy to himself, and, we knew that was probably going to happen. We're talking about 2 different entities. SRX knows that it's a gimmick. I don't know what SRX wants to do in the future. I know they're really focusing on being made for TV racing. It's working, clearly. Nashville was fantastic, and we're going to get to that here shortly. But, that's kind of where, it leads into this discussion perfectly. After, now that the SRX season is done, we're going to talk about the final race of the season. When you double dip, you get these arguments, you get this drama amongst the fans. Not in the sport, you don't get the good drama, you don't get the coverage. You get the drama amongst fans who argue, and they well, what is it? What is it? Because people want to know what they're watching. You want to know if they're going to get the gimmick, or if they're going to get the sport. And okay, we're going to get our playoff racing, and there's going to be this, but then we're going to award a champion. We're going to advertise that these are the greatest stock car drivers in the world. And Chase Elliott won the championship. He was the 2020 champion. He was good. Great driver, great season. Not a bad season at all, but Kevin Harvick ran stuff, whatever. Denny Hamlin ran stuff. Imagine it's not going to happen. Imagine Denny Hamlin misses the chase. I mean, the playoffs. Sorry. It's just we don't know what we are, and I hate it. It's so annoying. It's so frustrating. SRX knows what it is, and I have a good time watching it because I go into it and I'm like, these are all old race car drivers. This is Bobby Labonte and Marco Andretti. First of all, this is Marco Andretti. Let's just start there. Anyway, that's the last I gotta say on that. I'm in a great mood.
Yeah, you yelled at me, and I don't.
Sorry, Joe. Regain.
I was just
It
along
goes-
for the ride.
It goes
Yeah.
back to my thing that I tried to tell you guys before. Whenever I say stuff, it's not directed at you specifically, but there are a lot of people that will just say things for the clicks, for the views, whatever. Just
Well, good thing I was talking there. Probably muffled it up. It takes me back to what I was saying after last week's show, where I was talking about us arguing and how I like riled you up, and I was like, it makes good content. Like, but I mean, I feel like that's one of the important things about a show like this is to have good chemistry. You have to be able to disagree about things, but in a constructive way. Like, I think it's a good thing that Davey was able to be like, this is why I hate your argument, and you weren't like, shut up, and you didn't get offended by it. You know.
Also,
my heart sank a little bit though.
I also adore Joe in every single way. He's my favorite little boy.
No, but it's just I don't know. I always worry about people just trying to be. They're just saying things to say things, and they're not forming their own opinions.
Yeah, and in your defense, there are a lot of people who just, like you've said multiple times, think it's just fun to just rip on whatever NASCAR does. Like, I obviously am biased and a little nostalgic at times, but I try to look at things as objectively as possible. I liked the original Chase, and I was okay. I mean, I know I just complained about Tony Stewart's 2011 title, but that is like something so ridiculous that it would probably never happen again. So, like, I was fine with that format, and even like just from a sheer raw drama standpoint, like I was down with 2014. I was like, this is fun. And then they fought for like the 8th time in the playoffs, and I was like, all right, I'm kind of sick of this now. But yeah, I don't know. It's a complicated thing, and I don't know.
This system isn't going anywhere.
That's my whole take. I don't know.
Problems only NASCAR can have.
Right.
This one.
Let's just keep making the hole deeper and deeper. Like
Dude,
you said,
I can't tell you how annoying it is to have to talk to somebody who hasn't, or watch a race with somebody who hasn't watched in like 5 years, and then try to explain the point system and the championship format, and then they're like, "Wait, why are they stopping?" And they're like, "Oh, then I have to explain stages," and then and then they've lost interest.
Hey, sometimes if you add too many rules, the sport gets too confusing.
Why do you think it's so hard for people to get into American football? Anyway.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Like
I should say, like foreigners who've never watched it before.
I don't want to delve because I want to get to SRX, and there's a thing that we have crossed out that we might not get to, and I want to get to it. It's the F1 stuff. The last thing I'm going to say: kids grow up playing football. Kids don't grow up playing race cars.
Yep.
So that's the difference.
And even then, even if you grow up like racing karts, you don't have to worry about stage points.
David, did you enjoy stage racing growing up?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy your playoff format at the Jacksonville kart track?
It's the classic thing, though, where it's like, why is NASCAR the only motorsport pretty much in the world that does playoffs and stages? Like, there's a reason nobody else does it. It's because nobody likes it. So, yeah.
The SRX was great, like I said.
Oh, yeah.
Nashville, great locale.
Entertainment, baby, entertainment. It was awesome. I mean,
it was cool.
You know, the best part of it, it was cool. Tony drew the pole, and he's like, no. Bill Elliott, you be the pole sitter, so you can start next to Chase. And that just goes back to, they're very open about what they are, right? Yeah. There's local short tracks, too, and I see that argument. There's local short tracks that'll throw a caution if there's too many green flag laps in a row. They're open about what they are. They're not trying to hide behind a facade.
And the stakes are also much lower in that, you don't have these teams spending hundreds of millions of dollars every year with tons of sponsorship money. It's 12, I was going to say retirees, but it's about 6 retirees and dudes looking for big breaks, messing around.
Yeah, and powerful like late models. I almost said an F word, didn't say it. And powerful late models.
A lot of diecasts being bought this week.
Davey's already got like 4. I got 1.
I hope you're buying 164.
You want to know what was funny about the ones I did earlier? I thought about it and I was like, I want to say it. I said it.
No, but Bill Elliott finally looked like he was having fun, so that was awesome to see. He'd been complaining about his car And so Ray was just like, here, we'll just give you the test car, and look, it worked out okay. I still think those cars are more aero dependent than what they said they are, by the way. I'm just throwing that out there. Bill won the first heat. I forget who won the second heat. I don't really care. And then Chase won the race. That
I've been saying for years that Bill Elliott can still cut it.
Yeah.
Because like I remember when he went part-time, he was like still good. And even the stats sheet doesn't show it, but I felt like he had really good runs when he drove for Wood Brothers. And then he showed up in 2012 for that Daytona race and ran like top 5 all day before he got wrecked. And then he randomly showed up in a GMS car for an Xfinity race a couple of years ago, just out of the blue, and ran like 12th all day at a track he'd never driven. And then Bill Elliott's still pretty good. I like him. It's awesome.
It's cool, dude. A lot of the old drivers can really one old driver. And I'm not trying to tangent because this is kind of related. I'd love to see him in SRX. He's getting old now, man. Mario Andretti. That would be awesome. He could still get it. He totally could. He could hop in right now. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah.
I know. He pushes those two when he did the 2-seater stuff. He pushed them.
Yeah,
dude. He was pushing. He says as much. He says he pushes the 2-seater. He sets it up himself. Like, I don't doubt he could rip on those SRX guys every once in a while, man.
I was listening to Fake Racers today, and it gave me 2 ideas for guys who need to be in SRX, which is Montoya and Jacques Villeneuve. I would pay so much money to see Jacques Villeneuve in an SRX car, dude.
Honestly, Jacques would be such a good Paul Tracy replacement. That's a little less gross.
Yeah, I was going to say, you
Tracy
can't have both.
This week.
You're going to take out a lot of cars if you have both. You can only have one.
Yeah, like Jacques would be. Shout out to Paul Tracy for not wrecking this week, like Joe said. But Jacques would be a good Paul Tracy replacement, and Juan would be phenomenal. Juan would probably
run laps around all of them, if I'm being honest.
Honestly, Juan is just that good. Also, you would need to put Juan on a track where he'd be at a disadvantage, and I think you would have to have it be a really tight quarters racetrack. You would need a fight, right? He would get in a fight. He would still get in a fight.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Because Juan and Tony got into it in 06 at Homestead, right?
09, yeah.
09. Yeah.
Newman dumped him at 06 or at Homestead in 06.
That's right. That's right. Because I remember Tony basically dumped Juan, and then Juan stuffed Tony.
Yeah.
And I remember Tony was on Dinner with Racers. And he talked about that incident. He was like, "Yeah, that's about what I expected." I saw him slowing up, and I was like, "Yeah." So that'd be a really fun combination. Those two. Oh, yeah. That's a great idea. But yeah, again, going back to the actual like event. A good advertisement for the fairgrounds.
Oh, God, yeah.
What a track.
Yeah.
What a track. Oh my God.
I hope that lady's dog. Okay. I know I've heard that a bunch of times. I just wanted to say it.
Corey LaJoy tweeted that too.
Yeah.
Especially with all the F1 races coming up that are around there. With all those F1 tracks around Nashville.
Why is Miami getting a Grand Prix before Nashville? They got the 5 F1 tracks already. Those FIA tracks. I mean, ooh.
It's so weird.
That's a spicy. Formula 1 in Nashville would actually. We'll talk about
that.
We'll do a potpourri segment. Whew.
We'll talk about that too, especially after you go.
Yes.
Mini GP here in a few weeks. But SRX was good. It did good.
Oh yeah, I will say my absolute favorite thing about SRX is it's made me know Ernie Francis, because that dude can drive. Because I had never even heard of him before the season even started, and then to see him basically be the second best driver in the series, a dude who's never raced ovals in his life, like, and now he wants to drive the Penske Xfinity car. Like, put him in your car. Do it. So
it was cool, man. And like I knew him a little bit because he kind of did some stuff early on, like K&N series, like trying to break through kind of thing. I think he was part of the Drive for Diversity program, or he was, like on the fringe of it or something like that.
I think he drove for Rev Racing at one point. I don't know if he was fully in the program though.
I got you. Regardless, what a talent! I mean, what can you say? Like, Trans Am is a shell of what it once was, but the 7 consecutive championships. Sorry, at 23 years old.
Yeah.
How? Why?
That and it's just cool to have a race car driver in his 20s named Ernie. Like, it's been a hot minute since we've had an Ernie in NASCAR. So
I think
that's all I got.
I was listening to Positive Regression, and they were talking with Michael Self, who does a lot of is part of a ownership group for a Trans Am team, and does a lot of driver coaching now. And he was talking about how he sees if NASCAR continues to keep doing road courses and they're pushing, they keep pushing the envelope of how many road courses to have on the schedule. He could see like TA2 becoming like a feeder to because those cars are very, very similar to the stock cars. So Davey's very happy. He just wants Trans Am back in America on TV.
I was gonna say it'd make a lot of sense because like the closest thing to Trans Am I can think of is the Aussie V8 supercars, and like the next gen's supposed to be like V8 supercars. So
yeah,
dude, Trans Am cars still go over 200 miles an hour. They're on a road course. Oh God, gnarly, just freaking gnarly.
But
God.
SRX was fun. Chase won. He had the most to lose by not winning this race. Yeah. So I'm glad to see that he won.
It would have been bad if his dad beat him.
Not even that, just if he didn't win. Because, like, you go in there, you're the current reigning Cup Series champion, and you're racing a bunch of guys that are quote-unquote past their prime.
Dude, when he was stuck in the back in the second heat, I was like, oh.
He was saving his tires, man. He had him covered at the end there, though.
Yeah.
But it was a fun time. It was good to see him actually be vocal too, which isn't something you get out of Chase Elliott. He kind of said, "Hey, I hope we're back here. Hey NASCAR, I'm the face of your sport. Come back to the fairgrounds."
Yeah. Which I feel like it's just like when you get him out of the NASCAR PR machine, he actually like opens up a little bit. Because if you ever listen to him on like a podcast, like he's still monotone and kind of bland, but it's like, okay, Chase has a little bit of personality. He just doesn't show it in interviews. So
yeah,
I know it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way how not vocal he was about the Atlanta reconfigure. So I was like,
I don't think that's. I think he's and I think that a lot of the younger guys probably just don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Especially when you don't have as much expendable income as Kyle Busch, you don't want to.
Or Kevin Harvick,
big fines,
or Denny Hamlin.
He's like, I still have a mortgage I got to pay off. This is
right. Yeah. I can't put race cars in my house. What are you talking about? But SRX was fun.
Did have race cars in his house.
Yeah.
Austin Cindric probably grew up with race cars in his house.
So. Everyone re-raised the whole daddy's money. Oh, he's only getting this car because who his dad is, and that's a. Yep. If you're saying that, I'm just gonna tell you to probably skip about 10 minutes in here because you're not gonna like what you hear, and you're not gonna agree with anything that any of us say. Even Davey, who hates Austin Cindric.
Oh yeah, I don't like Cindric either.
So
I'm in the same boat.
But he's very deserving of this opportunity.
Oh, absolutely.
He has settled down in the last.
The 21 car was looking pretty good. I thought the 21 car was going to look pretty good.
Yeah. He's settled down the last couple of years. So him going to the 2 car, it's open. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes here, but it makes sense. Someone had asked Roger Penske in a media bullpen session or whatever it was on Zoom, well, did you ever consider like putting Blaney in the 2 and then moving Cindric to the 12? And he said no, because Blaney's brand is the 12, which double thumbs up from me, folks.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Some numbers. 2 car has a lot of history now, right? Brad's got the championship in it in the last 10 years. Bunch of wins. 60-something, 70, whatever, however many wins. There's a legacy there that he's going to have to uphold. Can he do it, though? That's the question.
Yeah. My whole thing with Cindric, I will say, not a big fan of him. I think he races like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this word. He races like an a lot of the time. And I mean, I'm a Justin Allgaier fan, and he's run over Justin Allgaier like 4 times. But his genuine improvement and just a sheer speed aspect from a guy who like 4 years ago had never even raced on an oval, that's pretty impressive. Like, I'm not denying Austin Cindric's talent. He absolutely deserves to be in the 2. Still not a big fan of him, but
Right.
like daddy's money is not the only thing that's putting him in the two. Like, yes, his dad is part of Penske and that is the thing that got him into the system. But like you've seen time and time again, like drivers who are related to people in the system don't go far enough if they're not talented. And Cindric obviously has a ton of raw talent. It's just more of a matter of him learning how to race people without hitting them. So he's going to make things exciting. I'll give him that.
Yeah, I mean, I've always had this problem with Austin Cindric. I never really cared about the daddy's money thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not an argument that's worth having with any driver, in my opinion, unless they're overtly bad. And Austin Cindric was never overtly bad. He just always kind of drove like an a-hole. He still kind of does. He drives like a spoiled brat, and that's not like a daddy's money thing. That's just how he drives.
Yeah.
Whatever. He'll be good and competitive in the two, and I'll just have to deal with it as I have been this season, where everyone's going to win 14 races, and he doesn't. So you can all suck my wee wee.
For you Supercross fans out there, he's like a more talented version of Michael Alessi, who had talent but overrode so hard and was kind of a jerk, and nobody really liked him because of that. So
I was also just referring to everyone saying, "Oh, Chase Briscoe's leaving. Oh, Austin Cindric's going to win like 10 races this season. Austin Cindric's going to easily win this championship."
See, I'd rather listen to that than people talk about how many races Noah Gragson's going to win, though. So
yeah, but no one says that because he's not gonna.
Oh, you'd be surprised. They always find me in Twitter. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's good for him, and hopefully, sounds like sponsorships getting moved around and stuff. Discount Tire's going to be on the 12 car a little bit next year. I assume Menards will probably be on the 2 car some, and stuff will get kind of reworked over there at Penske because the 21 car is also open.
Pain.
We can talk about the driver getting out of that car, but let's talk about the driver getting put into it next year. Harrison Burton take over the 21. Yeah. That one kind of feels like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I had a feeling they were going to go with a younger driver. Didn't know where they were going to get him from. This move makes sense. Harrison Burton, there's really nowhere to go in the Toyota pipeline, especially if the rumors about Kurt Busch going to 2311 if they can secure a second charter are true.
He's also a KHI guy, so
yeah, but I don't.
Yeah, so like there was always some links to Ford,
right?
But I never thought it was going to be Wood Brothers, which is the weird thing.
It's hard to. I find it hard buying into a lot of sometimes that KHI. Like everyone's like, "Oh, Kevin Harvick's going to buy JTG because look, there's KHI drivers there." Like, that's not how it works.
That also started because he was at their shop. And they were like, "Oh, is he going to buy it?" And then Kevin was like, "No, I manage both of their drivers." And I was making sure everything was fine.
But Harrison Burton to the 21, assume he's bringing Dex Imaging, some of those other partners that he has, they'll probably step up and do some sponsorship on his car. Blaney's had Dex on his car the last couple of years too, so they're kind of already in bed with Penske too, so that, maybe there's that relationship there.
Yeah.
I also saw a lot of people say, "Oh, he's spoiled kid. He's not that good." He had 4 wins last year in his rookie season in Xfinity, without any practice. So there's that.
Yeah.
Or no, his first one was at California, wasn't it? So he had practice for that one. Yeah. So 3 wins without practice, and gave us the best finish ever at the current Texas Motor Speedway.
Love that finish.
I'm good with it. I'm okay if they want to put a young guy in that car. Ford's trying to reload their development system now that they, all they have really is Haley Deegan, because Riley Earps doesn't really seem like he's a development driver for Ford.
No.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed for Matt Benedetto. It's a shame. I'm super happy for Harrison Burton. He's going to do great in that car. But I am really disappointed for Matt Benedetto. He really has had some not great luck this year. I am a big supporter of you make your own luck in racing, but I think stuff has happened to him. It's like a little bit unlucky. He's had some weird stuff happen.
He's been a little bit in that Tommy Joe Martin's Daniel Hemrick club that we were talking about last week a little bit this season.
Yeah, he had and people will say that it wasn't, but he had a really good season last year, and he's been running pretty well this year. He's been a little more off, and when you need to perform, and he needed to perform this year, these things happen. I don't know where he's going to land. I'm just disappointed because I feel like he deserves a lot more respect for what he has been able to do with Wood Brothers, which is run really well, finish really well, be consistent. Didn't get the one race win, but it is what it is. Still, I think still very technically ran the best that car has ran in a long time. And I think wherever he'll go, he'll be pretty successful. He's got a career left in him.
Yeah,
he's been resilient up till now. So
yeah, I like Harrison Burton a lot. I think he's a good kid. I don't know if I'd say he's ready for Cup because I feel like he's been a little disappointing this season. Not to say it's just weird to me that he hasn't won a race yet. But I mean, when you just not to say that wins are all it's everything, but I don't know if I would have given Harrison a Cup ride yet. But part of that's also my bias because I am a huge Matt DiBenedetto fan. I mean, he's from Grass Valley, which is literally 5 minutes up the road from where I'm at right now. And I followed his career trajectory basically until now, and I was so pumped when he got the 21. And I mean, obviously, there's still time for him to win a race. I mean, he almost won Talladega. There's still 2 plate races on the schedule. He could still win something.
He's a very sound road course.
Yeah, he was really good at Road America too. And it really does bum me out to see so many people rag on him this year because he has had really good runs. They just over the first 2 months of the season, it was just every week something was coming up that was costing him top 10s and top 15s or whatever.
His first 8 races were ridiculous levels of unlucky. If there was such thing as unlucky, he was having that in those first 8 races.
I feel like he's going to land something good. If it's not even Cup, I feel like an Xfinity team is going to take a flyer on him because he's shown that he can perform. He almost won multiple races with Levine of all teams. He put a BK racing car almost in the top 5 at Bristol one time. The dude has talent. Whether or not he's harnessing it every time or every race is another thing. But you're going to tell me if you're, let's say, Stuart Haas, is he not an improvement over Riley Herbst? Is he not an improvement over? I know Herbst and Michael Annett bring sponsorship, but you could easily plug DiBenedetto in one of those cars and win races. So I don't know. I really hope he lands with something good, even if he has to drop back down a series. I almost feel like him going back down to Xfinity would be really good for him because if he could find a team, find something like Daniel Hemrick has, a top level team that wants to put him in their car as a prove it thing, that would do him wonders. Not only just for a career prospect, but winning races does things to you psychologically. And you can imagine how much of a confidence booster that would be if he's able to go down there and rack up a couple wins. Yeah. So I hope he finds something good because I love Matt, but it disappointed me so much when, obviously the tentative plan was Cindric to the 21 next year, and then Brad leaving kind of left a little bit of a hope of maybe they'll keep Matt for another year because Cindric's going to go straight to Penske, but no.
Yeah. There's a couple things that I don't think he did himself any favors with in terms of, posting a video about how you feel. Great. Made a lot of really good points about, I felt like something was wrong with the team. I think I should have been more vocal. No hard feelings type stuff. And I am under the impression that he got his hopes up that he was going to be able to stay in this car because I don't think Penske ever really thought about him past this year. I really don't because it's not even a performance thing. I don't think you can make the argument that it is a performance thing.
Because he was handpicked by Paul Menard to take over for him.
Right. If Penske wants to help build the Ford pipeline, which it seems like they are kind of committed to doing at this point, especially with that 21 car, a guy like Matt DiBenedetto is a lot closer to a finished product than Harrison Burton is. Matt DiBenedetto is probably at his career maximum potential right now. The whole plan for the 21 car is to make it a development seat, what good does it do you to put a guy in there that's not at a point where he needs the development? I hate to see him so heartbroken over it. Upset, whatever. But to hear him talk about, like, he wasn't looking for other things, he wasn't actively, and trying to say, oh, it was out of respect for the team and stuff. You knew you weren't going to be in that car. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like Eric Jones last year. They asked him at Michigan, oh, well, when you got the news that Christopher Bell was taking over the 20, you know, and he just said, well, I didn't see it coming. We were working on a deal. I kind of said, you know, I said to myself there, like, hey, you know, that's great, but when every sign in the place is pointing towards A, you have to eventually stop looking at B.
Yeah.
So...
he probably saw the writing on the wall with Brad leaving, like everybody did. I mean, I was calling it last year that he was going to leave.
Right.
So he probably saw the writing on the wall and was like, okay, well, if they're not going to put Cindric in this car and put somebody else in it for a year and then move him over, so maybe I've still got a shot. And, you know, even if that was an opportunity, that's not set in stone. Like, you have to keep your options open. So,
yeah,
which sucks. I mean, yeah. And Matt's a guy who's always worn his heart on his sleeve and everything, and he's like, that's one of the reasons why I like him too, is he's so open about like his emotions and stuff like that. So it bummed me out so much to see him that heartbroken. But it was like, dude, you should have been preparing for this, man.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, because somebody is going to give him a ride. He's not going to just not land a ride after this. Like, even if he hasn't finally broken through and won that race, he made the playoffs last year. He's consistently ran well in the 32 car. He took Levine to levels they had never been before. And like Davey said, he's run really well in the 21. They just haven't gotten over the hump. So he'll land somewhere. Hopefully it's not with like Spire.
It's not. Well, Spire's only going to have one car, and that's probably Joy.
Starcom, I mean.
I don't think Quinn House getting out of that car anytime soon.
Yeah.
Someone's
got to finish 37th.
You think we looking at the other side of the deal now, though?
Yeah.
The announcement today.
Yeah.
Worst kept secret ever.
I mean, we almost don't even have to. We already went over it, but Keselowski is taking part ownership of Roush Fenway Racing. Cool.
Did you guys see Roush's? Roush tweeted something. It was like announcing it in the first letter of each sentence spelled out Brad. Yeah. Did you guys see that?
I saw that.
Yeah, that was really clever. Yeah, I mean, the writing's been on the wall for a few months that Brad was gonna like. It got reported like months ago that he was gonna buy into Roush, and then like he and Jack Roush have both been like maybe the whole time. So yeah.
Apparently the deal got done in March. And we didn't actually hear reports about it till May, so I guess they kept it under wraps for 2 months, so that's pretty good. Yeah. Most likely they couldn't announce the deal until now because they had to wait for Penske to release whatever stipulation in his contract about not being able to sign with somebody and make those plans official. Because a lot of that has to do with sponsorship, right? Sponsors don't want to have a guy representing them that's gonna be leaving. So the best way to make sure that nobody knows is to tell nobody. But he's going to have minority ownership that is going to grow over time, so I'm assuming his ownership stake is kind of working sort of as his pay, which makes sense. That's a deal he wanted to work with Penske last year in lieu of actual payment, because Penske kind of lowballed him last year coming out of the pandemic on a one-year deal, from what we've heard. Fine. Lowballed is has bad connotation with it, but it is what it is. I don't think that's anything wrong that anyone did there. But he's going to be a leader on the competition committee at Roush, which I'm very curious to see how that works with him and Jack Roush. Because all the stories we've heard about Jack Roush sometimes aren't very glowing on his reputation. But silly season gets sillier. sillier because now we're here. They also said today that they offered Ryan Newman a part-time kind of thing.
Well, they were also saying too, if they can find a charter, they'll run a third full-time car, or at least it was implied because it said if they can find a charter or a part-time car. So,
which I don't see them finding a charter or being willing to fork over that much if they're trying to build their team, right?
Yeah. But yeah, to go back to what you're saying about Jack Roush, like he's been more and more hands off over the last few years, and that's why you've seen a little bit more of an uptick. I think he knows that his methods are a little outdated. Because I think it's what is Robert Yates' son's name? Whatever, the younger Yates has been kind of taken over more of a leadership in that team. So I think Brad going there is the fresh blood they need, though. So
well, and Brad was part of building Team Penske up until what they are today, because they, Kurt Busch would win a couple races every year there in the late 2000s. It wasn't like they were competing for a championship.
They were basically a one-car team when Kurt was there for most of his career.
Then 2011, they consolidated down to 2 cars from 3, dropped the 77, turned the 12 into the 2, turned the 2 into the 22. And that 22 relationship has obviously worked out very well. AJ Allmendinger was in the car in 2012 after Kurt got let go. Brad won the championship that year. Then they did this whole switch to Ford, Logano. 13 wasn't great, but then 14 was awesome. And thereafter, they've become one of the powerhouses. In NASCAR and I don't think people appreciate how much better they've gotten. Because and Brad's been a guy that's been in programs and has helped build them. Junior Motorsports, he
basically turned Junior Motorsports, or was like the first championship caliber driver Junior Motorsports ever had.
Exactly, and that's not to discount the teams or anything, but drivers can definitely come in and help elevate a program. We've seen that time and time again. Seen that with the 21 car into Benedetto. Look at that. Circling back. Ties in. But all good. I am very sad. I have a lot of two car stuff. Like a lot. I got my poster over here from the championship, the Sam Bass poster he did, some pictures, and I'm very sad.
How much Dale Jr. 8 merch do you think I had leading up to 2008?
All you have to do is add an 8. What do you mean?
Yeah, I got to multiply mine by 3.
Where's his number?
It is what it is. Not surprising.
I think it's what Roush needs too, because the Roush has kind of fallen down the Ford totem pole, and it's not going to be like a Stewart-Haas thing where Tony Stewart bought into the team, and then a few years later they changed to Ford. It's like Roush is so intertwined with Ford that they're never going anywhere. So,
and I think that's probably why Brad stayed there, because it seems like he's got really good relationships with people at Ford too. So
Ford might have even helped orchestrate it too. So
because it sounded like there were other opportunities out there from the press conference, but he said this was the best one. Because I'm assuming Penske probably offered him a 2-3-year contract extension. Roger had said last week that Brad had asked for ownership and he said no. I mean, sad, but it is what it is. Davey, you're going through all of the colors right now. Look at you.
I am.
Any other thoughts, Davey? You've been quiet on this one.
No, I mean, we already went over there. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm going to be able to root for the 6th car now, kind of.
Yeah. You didn't like Ryan Newman?
Yeah, I'm not a big Newman fan either.
Sad.
I'm a big Newman fan.
Sad. Yeah. Ryan Newman's a cool guy.
Cool. If it makes Roush competitive to where it once was again, that's even better. I like Jack Roush. He's kind of a different character in the garage area, but I like the guy.
Survived a bunch of plane crashes.
Did a lot of cool stuff in Trans Am. Circling back, more like circle B picks. Let's hear your circle B picks.
Remember, folks, you can use code JTN at circlebdiecast.com for free shipping on your order of $20 or more. Pretty much all of us are going to have to use that code after this podcast is over, so we'll be using it. It works great. It's awesome. Circle B Diecast, your home for all of your racing-related apparel and diecast, especially. My pick for this week is Aric Almirola's New Hampshire race win diecast that apparently is more controversial than what I really thought it should be. Congratulations to Aric Almirola. Thank you for winning me $12. Davey,
that pays for like a 7th of the diecast. If you would have bet like 10, it would have paid for the diecast.
It would have paid for more than a diecast.
Yeah, you could have bought 2.
Summer road trip. Who's taking a summer road trip this year? I know I am. I'm going to Nashville, and then I'm going to Charlotte in October, which is still summer in Florida, but maybe not in Charlotte. Anyway, summer road trip. Kevin Harvick's summer road trip car, the Mobile 1000 summer road trip, 164 NASCAR diecast, only $9.99. Get yourself a few more diecasts like I'm going to have to do after this episode. Use code JTN. When they do ship, you'll get charged then.
Next year,
but you won't pay
eventually.
for shipping. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna get that Daniel Suarez Camping World car, circa 2024. I'm so excited. Anyway, use code JTN, get that free shipping. The only time you have to pay for the car is when it ships, but you're still not paying for shipping if you use code JTN. So, use code JTN for your summer road trip car for the Kevin Harvick Mole 1000, the road trip for summer road trip summer car.
Davey, you're gonna be on your debt. You're going to be on your deathbed, and then they're going to be like, there's a package for you, and it's that Jimmy Johnson last race car, finally.
I will wake up and put it on my desk.
And the thing about that car is it just arrived in stock. It's probably out of stock because, again, you got to pre-order diecast if you really want them. And if Davey would have bought it from Circle B Diecast, like I told him he should have, you'd probably already have it by now because they got the fastest shipping in the South.
That car. My parents bought me that car in November as a Christmas gift.
Davey's dad, because I know you're listening to this, buy your Christmas presents for your son from Circle B.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
My birthday's in like a month and a half.
Davey, set up a P.O. box.
Yeah.
Circle B Diecast, baby. Use code JTN. Find me a diecast.
Anyway, for my pick, I'm going with the pre-order of Akinori Ogata's throwback truck that he ran. It's not relevant at all. I just saw it on Circle B's website and I thought it was cool. Quick little tangent that I told before the show. I used that diecast in the Makita Truck Series, and then they announced that they were running that, and I was like, hey, cool Makita Truck Series throwback. And Ogata and I believe the team owner both liked that tweet, so that's cool. So maybe we have some more fans out there, but you should go ahead and pre-order it. It's $54.99 and use code JTN for free shipping.
Remember, folks, CircleBDiecast.com, your home for all your racing-related memorabilia needs. Code JTN at checkout for free shipping on your order of $20 or more, and you're not charged until it ships. All right, IndyCar. Got a new TV deal today. We gotta kind of zoom through these because these episodes are getting long.
Well, we also started half an hour late, so
that's okay. I was mainly looking at the recording time, not necessarily this time. But IndyCar announces a new TV deal with NBC. Roger Penske, he did it again. 13 races on big network television. People, though, are freaking out about 2 races being streamed exclusively on Peacock.
Boring. Who cares?
First of all,
cool, we'll get to watch it.
Exactly.
I already stream all my races, so
yeah.
Real quick for everyone at home, if you have Xfinity, just say Peacock into your remote, and bada bing, bada boom, you got Peacock Premium. Guess what you get with that? You get all of Peacock with limited ads, and you also get the WWE Network if you're a wrestling fan like me. So bada bing, bada boom, it pays for itself. It's only $5 a month.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I read, too, that people were like, oh, it's exclusive on Peacock, and I think you can still stream it for free on there. I think it's Peacock Premium is what you have to pay for.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be
ads like interspliced or whatever.
Yeah, so, like, yeah. It's only going to get 50,000 people watching. Yeah, and then you're also getting 13 races on NBC that'll actually get viewers, so I don't...
Yeah.
What are we complaining about here?
Yeah, I mean, cool. Good for IndyCar. It's good for IndyCar. It is good for IndyCar. But I mean, it's just
yeah. I mean, I get the frustration because it's like, oh, cool, it's another streaming service that I have to worry about. But it's like, I mean, sports are experimenting with that. I mean, you have this upcoming season, the NFL has 1 game a week that's only on Amazon Prime. So it's like, this isn't a new thing. You can still watch it for free. You don't have to pay anything else. It's just like, you got to have internet. So it's whatever. It's no big deal.
It's the way of the future. That's why JTN broadcasts sim races every week, so that way we're on top of the trend when the trend becomes the trend.
Ew.
We are.
Yeah, when are we on Peacock?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Why?
Yeah.
What? I think we should be on Peacock. We definitely should.
What if we make, like, what would our streaming service be called? We made a streaming service. This is completely...
It's got to have a stupid name, two-syllable name with a U in it.
Wait. Hold on. I have an idea.
God.
Jaycock.
It's got to integrate toe into the name somehow.
Wow. All
right. Anyway, we'll come up with a better streaming service name for next week. How about that?
I'm so disappointed right now, you guys. My disappointment is immeasurable. And...
I'm disappointed too, Joe. I'm disappointed too. You know, I'm really disappointed.
Yeah, I went to the Tigers game last night. That was fun. That wasn't disappointing because we won 14-0.
I was gonna say that's a rare, not disappointing thing for you.
Be quiet. We're winning right now. 1-0, but we're winning. NASCAR today released that the next gen findings were A-okay. Matt, I'm gonna let you go first because you got a little conspiracy theory, and I put it in the notes. I called you out.
I saw that. I was mostly memeing, but I feel like there might be a little bit of validity to it. So they posted like an official tweet saying like, oh yeah, they're going to start delivery of the next gen car this week. And it's a picture of the chassis, but it's a picture that's framed. So you're only seeing the rear of the chassis. And I was like, man, that sure is convenient that they're not including a picture of the front end of the chassis, which is the part that everybody has the safety concerns about. So, which maybe not necessarily a conspiracy, but it's like convenient. A 95% chance that's intentional. Because if they did post it, everybody would like, you would have like Reddit going crazy, circling things, but like, what about this part of the frame?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just thought it was funny.
I still will never get over the fact that some people think that a sled test is running a sled into the back of a race car.
Oh.
Still beating that dead horse. I love it. Still beating that dead dummy.
Credibility. I mean, if whatever was there, but
just rough.
YouTube, it's so hard to type in sled test into Google, unless I'm wrong. I could be wrong. No, but if it was intentional, which, like you said, maybe, possibly.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, it's not really that significant.
What we
thought it was funny.
What we heard was shatter.
Yeah.
Into little shards, and yeah, that's scary. Because guess what? Guess what's gonna have to go up around the catch fence then? A bunch of like that construction screening.
We're just gonna put plexiglass along all of it.
I mean,
there you go.
Bam. I've been saying that for years. Problem solved.
I don't know if that'd be a good idea, though. It'd be a terrible idea.
Bird splat.
That and, like, can you imagine how bad the sound would reflect off that?
I think the main...
It would make it, like, deafening to be in the...
Would that lady's dog be okay?
I think the main problem you would see with that is that would have to be... That would probably have to be, like, panels...
Yeah.
Plexiglass.
It would have to be like how the NHL does their plexiglass around
the second something comes up and it shatters one of those or hits one of those and the plexiglass comes loose, because we're talking about cars, not NHL players.
Yeah.
You're going to cut someone in half.
Well, not even that. Like, imagine how many times you're going to have to stop the race to replace a panel of glass. Because, like, one little piece of rubber flew off and shattered it at 180 miles an hour. Yeah.
It is what it is.
I like how we're debating this thing that's not happening that I just, like, mentioned on
No, NASCAR to use plexiglass at racetracks?
You heard it here first, Reddit.
How long have you been recording?
1 hour, 8 minutes. Hour 9.
Right, real quick, I wanted to get to it, and you didn't let me. You didn't want me to, and I'm gonna make it happen. We're gonna have a discussion about this because I have RESPECT. Yeah, man, this is my bread and butter. I love talking about this kind of stuff, and I'd love for you guys to chime in. A lot of debate from lap 1 of the F1 race Sunday. A lot of debate.
Opened here.
A very heated debate on the USRL Discord amongst the drivers of the USRL.
Very heated debate on Twitter.
The Cup Series that you know and love. From JTN Broadcast.
Obviously, the people that have the most credibility and reputation about what is a racing deal and what isn't a racing deal. Sorry, I'm just that out there.
We're called fake racers for a reason.
That was rough. That was rough, Joe. That was a dynamite drop in. That was a people's elbow to the neck of every USRL member.
Yep.
So if you don't know the situation, we're coming down into what's the corner called? Cops. We're coming down in the Cops at Silverstone. It's
fast.
It's a weird corner. It's an awkward corner, right? The apex is a little awkward to get to. It's an awkward turn in. You're not really like downshifting much at all. Like it's just an awkward high downforce, high speed right-hander. You do have to slow up for it though. Max Verstappen tries to go defensive on Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton gets alongside, gets just short of even with Max Verstappen. Because of the shallow entry that Lewis Hamilton gets, which is because of a defensive move by Max Verstappen. Nothing was ruled on Max Verstappen, so it was a legal defensive move. Lewis Hamilton shallow on entry, doesn't quite get to the apex until late. Max Verstappen, is kind of, we don't really know if he was going to give a lane through the apex of the corner because he never got the apex of the corner. There was contact. Max Verstappen flies off, has this horrific accident, by the way. I don't know if you guys saw the picture of the car that I sent.
Yeah, I saw that.
USRL Discord. Brutal accident, by the way. Max Verstappen gets sent to the hospital, 51G accident. In come the debates amongst Formula One fans and other people alike about the incident. Well, do you guys have any thoughts on this, Joe? I know you are not a Formula One guy, and
I got thoughts.
You got some thoughts.
I got thoughts. Hey, it's lap 1 of a 52-lap race. If you're faster now, you're probably going to be faster in a few laps the way those cars are. There's no sense in tearing up a multi-million-dollar race car, whether it be your own or someone else's. You could show a little bit of respect to that guy. There's a lot. Lewis is a 7-time world champion, right?
Yeah.
I think Max, what he said after about seeing him celebrate and stuff, I thought maybe that was a little much. I tried to harp on this, but it was like, because the arguments that I heard, so I didn't do diving into Twitter, F1 Twitter, but anything I ever see, it's American perspective. And we have a very different perspective over like a European perspective on auto racing, because our auto racing is all about the good old boys and a little bit of contact, a little bit of rubbing.
Those pansies over in F1.
Yeah. So I saw a lot of people like the term racing deal. Love it. Absolutely love that term. Got thrown out a lot. Like, oh well, they're both at fault. Which,
I mean, if you want to be technical, every crash is a racing deal because
exactly.
it is in racing.
Yeah.
I was telling Matt this before you got here, though, Davey. I was saying, it's never good when fans of one driver, when the accident happens, their first thing isn't to defend their driver, it's to just say, oh, it's a racing deal. That's never a good sign for that driver.
Yeah. Here's, and I agree with you. I hate the term racing deal. I think not in the sense of, like, it's overused. It's the context that people use it in. I hate when people say it's a racing deal and they think that absolves blame from the accident. Someone can still be at fault for an accident. They can still be a racing deal.
Yeah.
You can still have a driver that does something wrong, even in a racing deal. So my viewpoint on this accident, we had a little bit of a discussion on this on the day, and one of Joe's notes here is to tell us the difference between open and closed wheel cars in this kind of situation that we saw where the accident took place. It's less about the cars, more about the why, right? It's more about the brain, the thought process. It's the morals of each discipline of motorsport, right? You're looking at this from the perspective of. You have to look at this from the perspective of two open wheel cars going into a corner. You cannot be the hard ass. You can't be the guy that sticks his nose in there, keeps his nose in there. Like you end up looking just as dumb as the other guy. I saw a wild open wheel video. I forget. I think it was from Lime Rock. Or some European racetrack. I forget what track it was. It was kind of club track looking. A guy gets alongside another guy, if they're open wheel cars, it's like Formula V or something, and the guy in front starts moving to the right, trying to be defensive, and the guy behind just held his line, saw the guy come across his nose, held his line. They got in a huge accident. And like, yes, that is technically the guy in front's fault. But if you see this accident happening, if you're going down the straightaway and you see someone moving across and they're not stopping and they're going to cut across your nose and you're both going to wreck, you are doing yourself no favors in an open wheel race car by keeping your nose stuck in there. You are just as much at fault for that accident. I don't care. I don't care that he moved over. He is at fault, but so are you. You saw it happening. I will say that I think there's a little bit more to be given in the way of it's early in the race, because in F1, the earlier stages of the race are the most likely stages where you'll be able to get an overtake opportunity. So it is a slightly different outlook. The races are backwards from a NASCAR race, right? NASCAR, that guy doesn't make that move at all. F1, you don't know if you're going to get that move again later.
Yeah, because if you're Lewis and you're looking at that, and Max has had a faster car for most of the season, you're like, this is probably my only chance to get ahead of him right now.
Yeah. I can't blame Lewis for that. Again, it's a racing morals thing. I think the people who are blaming Max Verstappen for that accident aren't looking at that incident unbiased. I don't think they're looking at that incident from a perspective that is from the top, without leaning either direction, because you really, I do not see how you can blame Max Verstappen for that incident and say Lewis didn't deserve a penalty, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. It's just asinine to me. He stuck his nose in there. He saw the accident coming. He was shallow in the corner. Didn't get to the apex. Wasn't going to get to the apex. Wasn't going to make the corner. Barely made the corner. Already slowing down for the contact. Got all the way out to the rumble strips on the exit curbs. It just was not prepared to make that corner.
Yeah, my gripe is not that Lewis tried to make a move. It's the fact that Lewis just flat out missed the corner and sent somebody to the hospital, and then just acted like nothing happened. That what pissed me off the most.
That was pretty rough.
And for a 7-time champion and somebody who's literally watched one of his competitors die, that rubbed me the wrong way. I did
hear about a clip where they said, they kind of asked him a little bit. They're like, hey, some people are saying it's not that cool that you were celebrating while Max was in the hospital. What do you say to that? And he was like, Max is in the hospital? And he was kind of suddenly very concerned. And I was doing that. Lewis Hamilton is usually really good about stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and again, in his defense, he probably didn't know. But he knew that he wrecked somebody. He knew that Max was out of the race, and his crew probably told him that he was out. And then to act like he didn't do anything wrong really upset me. Yeah. So that was my problem with it.
Yeah, but it goes back to, in his eyes, he didn't do anything wrong.
Exactly.
Right? And
which, if we're being honest, that's how Lewis has always been. So sorry, I was a Nico Rosberg fan, so I'm already biased against Lewis Hamilton. But
I love Lewis Hamilton to death. I think he is fantastic for motorsports as a whole in general, not just for F1. I love the guy. Every racing driver has their faults, and Formula One drivers in particular are whiny as hell. They're the whiniest racing drivers that I know of. That one weekend where they were complaining about the pace car going too slow, I wanted to lose my mind.
I was mentioning that to Joe before the show as how I've never seen an F1 driver be like, oh, that was my bad. So, and like you're saying, Lewis Hamilton, absolutely fantastic ambassador to F1. He has done so much. Even just for promoting it. We can look at the obvious thing is how he's basically broken the racial barrier in F1. And all the contributions and public statements that he did over the last year, how F1 was like, we're going to penalize you or we're going to fine you for wearing your BLM stuff on the podium. And he was like, all right, I'm going to keep doing it. So I love Lewis Hamilton, the person like that. I just don't like how he races a lot of the time. That's my problem. Anyway, I think he's unsporting as a driver. So.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe, for letting me get to that. I really enjoyed talking about that stuff. And I think it was, I think that this is a prime opportunity to talk about it, because when I go on the Formula One subreddit and I read what European Formula One fans say, sometimes it just drives me a little bit nuts, because they just they miss it. They don't understand it.
F1 fans are also a brutal type of, I won't say biased, but they are for their guy, and that it's almost like European football.
It's really
you're all for your team and your driver, and everybody else is wrong, and they can never do anything wrong.
It's really, really tribal. It's
yeah. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, Joe and I kind of talked about this. The closest thing that we have to that kind of tribalism over here is like college football, because it's the only thing that's rooted in like a community.
Yeah,
and
yeah, for
that's
sure.
That's kind of how a lot of F1 fans treat the drivers, if they do have a driver that represents them in some way, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, thank you, Joe, for letting me get to that. Joe just wants to end it. Joe just wants to stop. Joe hates us.
I have so many curse words to bleep out this week.
Were any of them mine? Did mine have to get
Yeah,
censored?
I think I got one in there. We'll see.
Oh my god, we're naughty this week.
Yeah.
We're naughty.
Okay, well, I guess I am buying. Well, no, I had to buy that Tyler Ingram diecast last. I gotta find something else I'm gonna buy this week.
You know what? I am making sure I'm gonna get some 164s, and I'm pre-ordering because I'm not paying any more money for a diecast right now.
There you go.
Holy moly!
Great way. Remember, folks, pre-order from CircleBlueDiecast.com. Use code JTN at checkout.
Oh,
If you want to help support these two with their bank accounts after they swore and have to buy some diecasts, you can head on over to the JTN merch store. Get yourself some Matthew Steelman, Davey Hazard merch. You can also find yourself some Fake Racers podcast merch. That goes to help support the show. Davey needs a new hard drive for his computer, so, there's that too.
Yeah.
and an SSD at the very least.
So, help support Davey. But as always, folks, the best way to help support us here on JTN is to make sure you're hitting the like button on the video, following us on our social media, and also making sure you're subscribed. If you feel so inclined, make sure you share the videos, whatever they may be, with your friends, family, or foes. Your 3Fs in life. Because some of us just don't give enough anymore. But, Davey, Matt, whoever wants to go first, where can they find more stuff from you?
You can find more about me on Twitter at Davey Hazard, where I'm just as vulgar. You can also find more about me on Instagram at D7H5 and on Twitch at D7H5er. Maybe one day when my computer works good, I can do stream things. It would be pretty cool. So keep an eye out and make sure you do that, because I might fix it. And then
whoa, watch out, everybody!
Watch
You
out!
might.
know.
He's gonna kick your butt in Rocket League.
Yeah,
Here he comes.
I will. I'm so
there we
good at
go.
Rocket
We can
League
stream
now.
you. We can stream you carrying me in Rocket League. There we go.
I will do that.
Wait,
Or
we
I
need
could get
JTN
drunk and play
Rocket League stream.
Ooh,
Part
I
notes.
could get drunk Rocket League again.
Oh god!
I can call up drunk Davey. I bet he'll come play.
Come play. Matt, where can they get more from you?
You can find me on Twitter at msteelman51. If you see the banner of the 2018 Roval finish with Jimmy Johnson representing the Big Sad and Martin Truex Jr. representing me, you've in the right place. You can find me on YouTube at DaleJune88 Rocks. I might have a couple things coming up down the road, so a couple big projects. So I'll keep you guys posted about that. And actually, that's it, because I don't use Instagram anymore.
Also, the host of the Oof Sides podcast.
All right. Second week in a row, I forgot to plug my own podcast.
For all your NFL information that you ever want and need. Because that season's starting to pre-season. Camp's open this week, right, for rookies, and then...
I believe so, yeah.
All right, cool. I know more stuff about the stuff that you cover. Great. That's awesome.
You guys talking about football so cute.
Look at you.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
Davey, how'd that premiere?
Yeah.
How's the what are we playing for right now? The Gold Cup or something? Is that what it is? I know it's our B team.
Yeah, I don't really.
You don't watch international soccer?
I don't really care about international soccer that much.
Well, then you're not a real
Cup comes
fan.
on, I'll watch it. Euros come on, I'll watch it. Copa comes on, I guess I'll watch it. I'm more of a Premier League man. Come on, you Spurs.
He's more of a highbrow type of fan.
Like drinking Chardonnay while you...
I think he's out.
Oh, do tell.
So.
But folks, as always, like I said before, make sure you liked the video. Make sure you go check out some of our other stuff. Been posting like little fun little videos that Matt says I need to do better on. That's fun.
I did not say that. I gave you a suggestion
he didn't say
on
it
how
that
to make
way,
things
but
better.
it was heavily
Do not put words in my
mouth. No. We always like the constructive criticism, folks. Even if we and by we I mean me, take it like I just did. So let us know how we're doing. John, if you're watching or listening, make sure you go ask Matt again when the next Makita Truck Series race is. Friend of the show, John Peterson. And we'll see you guys next week. We'll have some fun stuff coming for you. Since it's gonna be an off week, we're very much hoping that there's not gonna be more breaking news. So that'll be fun. But for all of us here at JTN, thank you so much for listening, for watching, whatever you may be, and we'll see you guys next week.
Goodbye. Goodbye.